Why does a neighborhood patrol need night vision goggles and combat boots? I mean, am I the only one who thinks that's a bit much? That was the third time I saw Greg show up in our yard dressed like he'd just been deployed, looking for contraband in Grandpa's rose bushes. No knock, no call. He just strolled in like he had a warrant and a vendetta. I tried to stay patient, really, but 3 nights of that, and he's still telling us we're the ones out of line? Something inside me snapped. And this time, Grandpa wasn't the only one on watch. You tell me, am I losing it, or is this straight-up harassment? So, picture this. It's Tuesday, right after a day where every client seemed to want a piece of my soul, and every design revision was a little punch to my sanity. I'm outside in the backyard, garden hose in hand, letting the water hit my tomatoes, actually feeling almost okay for the first time in hours. The sun is making rainbows in the spray, and for a moment, I swear the world feels right again. As an interior designer, I'm always in other people's homes, making them beautiful, but it's that little patch of my own yard that really reminds me why I do any of it. There's honeysuckle in the air from next door, birds doing their thing in the old oak trees, and, for a few minutes, life is just normal. Of course, Grandpa Frank. He's ex-military, old school, and about as subtle as a marching band. He's on his usual post at the front porch, coffee mug in one hand, glasses low on his nose, surveilling the block like he's got CIA clearance. He moved in after Grandma passed, and honestly, it's been kind of reassuring having him around. He knows every weird noise, which neighbor's kid snuck out last night, and, somehow, always when the mail is late. It's like having my own personal security detail, if that detail wore slippers and yelled at squirrels. But that peace? It lasted about as long as you'd expect. I hear voices at the gate, sharp, official voices, definitely not the friendly neighbor type. Out front, there's Paula Clark, HOA president, navy blazer and shiny pin like she's about to win an award for most annoying person on the block. And, right next to her, Greg, clipboard in one hand, combat boots laced tight. The guy looks like he's auditioning for a remake of SWAT, Suburbs Edition, not walking around pointing at people's bushes. Paula's sweet as syrup, but you know she's about to ruin your day. She says they need immediate access to inspect tree violations, something about a new resolution passed at some emergency board meeting that I'm pretty sure only she attended. I hold my hose like a shield and ask for a court order, or at least something with a stamp on it. Paula's smile drops. She gives Greg a signal. I swear, they've practiced this, and he starts scaling our 6-foot iron fence like he's at basic training. Paula just stands there, nodding, like this is business as usual. The garden hose hisses in my hand, matching the blood pressure in my temples. Greg lands in the backyard with a thud right by my flowers and starts scribbling on his clipboard, snapping photos at weird angles, like he's trying to make our backyard look like a crime scene. Then he pulls out white chalk and starts marking symbols on the patio stones. Some kind of HOA crop circle ritual, I guess. I ask what the hell he thinks he's doing, and he doesn't even look up. Meanwhile, Grandpa from his perch. Son, I don't recall our fence offering climbing lessons to the public. Greg ignores him, measuring plants, making notes that don't match any rulebook I've ever seen, snapping shots of our garden tools like we're smuggling narcotics in the wheelbarrow. I try to get him to leave. He smirks, says the inspection isn't over. Paula chimes in that HOA rules supersede property rights. I stand there feeling like the world's dumbest criminal, waiting for them to finish their mission. They finally leave. Greg's chalk marks all over the patio like territorial pissings. Paula with her paperwork, both of them muttering like they'd just won a prize. My piece is shot. Frank just watches them go, silent and still, coffee never spilling, but you can tell. He's cataloging every detail. He says something's wrong, like this is only round 1. 3 days later, it's a letter in the mailbox. Thick paper, official seal, the kind of thing that makes your stomach drop. The list of violations is insane. Bushes too tall, grass a little uneven, gate paint faded, all complete with photos taken when I know I wasn't home. The kicker? A $2,000 fine. I read it 4 times, thinking, is this a joke? But no, Paula thinks our bushes are worth $2,000 in HOA revenue. Grandpa's at the table, newspaper spread, sees my face and just asks, what did she cook up this time? He reads the fine, nods like he's been expecting it. We need cameras, he says, not a suggestion. That afternoon, I dropped $300 on a security system. Overkill? Maybe. But Greg shows up 2 days later, this time dressed as a utility worker, patchy uniform, fake badge, the works. He tries to access our electrical panel. Camera catches everything. He drops trash, photographs it as evidence, manufactures violations on the spot. Next day, another fine. This one for waste management and electrical hazards. Photos are time-stamped before he even showed up. I mean, how stupid do they think we are? Frank examines both notices, and for the first time, I see something colder in his eyes. This isn't just about fines, it's about our home. Next time, our gate will know how to defend itself, he mutters, and heads to the garage. Honestly, I'm not sure if I should be scared or grateful. What really gets me is realizing we're not the first. Mrs. Henderson from Oak Street comes by, brings a folder, says Paula did the same thing to her family, forced them to sell their home cheap through fake violations and intimidation. 5 other families, same story. Paula's been flipping houses she steals from her own community, pocketing the difference. This isn't overzealous HOA. This is organized theft. It gets worse. Late one night, Greg calls, surprise inspection, threatens legal action if we don't comply. Frank's already awake, camera gear ready, something military-grade in his hand. Time to see what they're really after, he says. At 3 a.m., cameras catch Paula and Greg at the gate, dressed as cops, radios crackling, paperwork that looks official if you squint in the dark. Greg tries to cut the power to our security lights, but Frank's rewired the whole system. Zap! Greg gets a shock that sends his tools flying, screams wake up half the block. Paula threatens to sue, but she's rattled. Frank steps outside, records everything. Impersonation, trespassing, destruction of property. The real cops arrive. Greg and Paula try to pass as actual officers, but it all unravels. Greg is cuffed, Paula's calling lawyers. The neighbors are staring out windows, and Frank looks as calm as ever, mug in hand. But you know how it goes. Bad people rarely just slink away. Paula spins the story on social media. We're dangerous. Frank's a lunatic. Our home is booby-trapped. Suddenly, neighbors cross the street to avoid us. HOA launches a $50,000 lawsuit for assault with a deadly weapon. Greg's fake injury photos everywhere. The comments section explodes. People call us maniacs. Frank just sips coffee, says, got one more card to play. The damage is real, though. Cameras smashed, neighbors shunning us, subpoena on my doorstep. 3 days to prepare for court. I'm exhausted, barely hanging on, but Frank, he's been in the garage, building something, making calls, compiling a dossier. Sunday night, he lays it all out. Evidence of Paula's scam, audio recordings, financials, connections to other communities. Turns out, this isn't just one greedy HOA president. This is a network, hundreds of families ripped off, millions stolen. At the emergency HOA meeting, Paula's got the crowd convinced we're the villains. Frank takes the floor, projects spreadsheets showing missing funds, plays tapes of Paula bragging about flipping homes, coordinating with other HOA presidents, and scamming residents. The room turns, fast. People start to realize, this isn't about us, it's about years of theft. Then Frank drops the final bomb. He's been working with the FBI for weeks. Agents are literally outside. The mood shifts from fear to outrage. Paula tries to bolt. Neighbors block the door. By the end, the vote to remove her is unanimous. The arrests start the next morning, not just here but across the state. The FBI finds a ring of HOA scammers. Paula right at the center, laundering money, running foreclosures for profit, even working with organized crime. Greg confesses, gets a deal, spills the whole scheme. How Paula recruited him. How they picked families who wouldn't fight back. How they made a fortune off other people's misery. In the end, Paula gets 7 years, millions in restitution, every asset seized. Greg gets prison, a public apology, a lifetime ban from property management. 12 other HOA presidents are indicted. Our neighborhood, for the first time in years, is safe. Frank is elected interim coordinator. Term limits, transparency, actual democracy. We get our fines reversed, repairs covered, even damages paid out. 6 months later, it's not about the money, it's the freedom. Kids play outside again. Neighbors wave. The air smells like honeysuckle, not fear. Frank's back on his porch, coffee in hand, not watching for threats but for grandkids. The electrified gate? It's just a normal one now, But every time it hums, I remember what we survived and why you never let anyone scare you out of your home. So what would you have done? Was standing our ground the right move, or did we go too far? Let's be real. Nobody moves to suburbia hoping to star in a crime thriller, but sometimes the only way out is through. Drop your thoughts below. Tell me about justice, about community, about when enough is enough. And hey, if you ever see your HOA president in combat boots, maybe go check your fence.